back to Take It Slow Homestead. I'm Carol, and today we are going to harvest the onions. Some of them are laying down, the stems are laying over, and so that means they're ready to be harvested. There's a few whose stems are still standing up, and so I think I'll leave some of those in the ground for a little while longer. Make sure they're totally to their peak and before we harvest them. So before we begin, well, first of all, let me just show you or tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, after I pull them out of the ground, I'm going to lay them on the grass. We have at least a week of no storms, so they'll be able to cure just fine, just laying on the grass for 2 or 3 days. So that's what I plan on doing. This morning I got up and came out here and harvested all of the rest of the kale. And so now I have this little kale forest of trunks and foliage at the top. Yeah, I guess maybe we could say they are like palm trees. But I'm going to keep them in the ground and see what happens. See if we get more growth coming out of the tops of these tall trunks of kale. So, got that all taken care of. Now I don't have a heap of kale in my garden. I have a heap of kale on my countertop in the kitchen. So I have my work cut out for me today. I also harvested the rest of the kohlrabi. They were right here. And later this evening, early evening, I'm going to come out and plant some starts I have of celery. And I know that it's late in the year to be planting that, but I've been busy and we'll see how it goes. I want to tell you, and maybe later this evening I'll show you also, that when you don't plant your starts at the time that they need to be planted outside, then you really are losing ground, so to speak. I have, seems like I show you this every time lately, but I have this eggplant. And I have 2 more starts of this in the house, 2 or 3, which is the same age as these eggplant here. But the ones in the house are about 3 inches tall, and these are about, I don't know, 15 inches tall. So, same age. You really have to get them into the ground when it's time, or they will not produce for you, which seems logical, but sometimes it takes an experiment or making a mistake in order to realize that, how important that is. Okay, so as you can see, and I've shown you before, these onion tops are laying down pretty well, and the ones over on the other side pretty much are laying down. There's a few that are not, that are still standing up, like this one right here, still standing up. I'll leave that one in the ground for a while longer, but all of these that are lying down, they need to be harvested. There's another one that's standing up, and then some along here. Those are the ones I'll leave for a little while. After I cut or pick them, pull them, which is going to be no big deal because they're pretty much on top of the ground now, so it'll be so easy to harvest. I'm going to just come right over here where the grassy path is. So right here, and I'm going to just lay them out on the ground right there and let them cure for 2 or 3 days. So to get your bearings, here's my compost pile right here. And here's our grassy path right here. And so that's where I'm going to put them. So, hey, there's my shadow. So there's the onion harvest. Some of them are quite big. It's a really good harvest this year. And it's not even the end of the growing season yet. So they grew well. They grew pretty fast. And there they are. Yep. What I like to do with onions is I will cut them up and cook them in with other things, you know, to make stews or zucchini and onions. That's always good. Put them in roasts, different things like that, fresh. And then also I like to just cut them up into chunks and put them on a cookie sheet, freeze them, and then put them in bags so they're nice and loose in the bag. And then when I'm going to make something later on, I can just reach in the bag, grab a handful or a couple handfuls of onions, throw them in whatever it is I'm making. So yeah, I thought that was really fun. And I put it on time lapse, so which goes to show that even if you take it slow all the time, like I like to do, all you have to do is put your camera on time lapse, and then it looks like you're taking it fast, but you're really not. This morning I was really excited to see these. Got some grapes coming on. These are Concord, and they're looking pretty good. They usually look like this, and I just wait for some of those that are a little bit green to get totally purple, and then the next day the birds have eaten half of them. So I need to be careful and be sure I get them before that happens. Some clumps back there. So that's been a good project, the grapevines. Now, thought I would try something. My little swing. I'm going to sit down and see if I can take a little swing in here without making everybody sick. Let's see, how would you film this? Yeah, something like that. Well, anyway, it is enjoyable just to stop and rest for a little while when you're out working. Happily, I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning automatically, right on the dot, which is different for me. And so I thought, okay, good. I need to get up. I need to harvest all the kale, which I showed you earlier. Now I just have a kale forest of kale stumps left. That'll be fun to watch to see what they do. And then I harvested all the onions. Let them cure right there on the ground for 2 or 3 days. All the dirt will fall off. Then I can cut the tops off a little bit past or right at the place where they bend. And then I can store them downstairs in my basement where it's kind of cool. So since it stopped raining and hailing, I do have a few more of the petunia blooms, which is always colorful. Petunias are really showy. There's a few zinnias in the background. I think next year I'll grow more zinnias. They're so pretty. So back here in the Big Dreams garden, I've got my sprinkler on, and things are looking nice and wet again. Like I said before, we normally don't get a lot of rain like some of the other states do, but what we do get we appreciate, and then we irrigate the rest of the time. So there's that nice big broccoli there. There's some of the flock of chickens. You can see I gave them some of the older kale this morning. So they're just in heaven. They've got more than they would ever want. Spoiled chickens. Good to have spoiled chickens, because then you get lots of eggs, right? In my chicken coop, got a bunch of cat food here. I have a broom just for my coop because I always need one out here. So it's the coop broom. Going to show you one thing that I've been working on. This is a nesting box that I'll be using soon. Hey chickies. Okay, these are my youngest birds. There's one right here. I don't know what I'm going to call her. She's always running after me. Whenever I come in, whenever I go out, she just runs to the door trying to scare me. I think she must be at the top of the pecking order. The other day I made this roost. Yay! Took me a long time to get it up there, but I'm so happy that they're able to jump clear up there and utilize that. I have a small one right here that's just resting on a couple of buckets that I put in here first, because these are young birds. They're just getting used to being older. I would say they're probably almost high school graduates. That's about their age compared to us. Over there in the corner, my son's going to make a door that will go out into the run for these ladies, and until then they are cooped up in here, but they do have a nice perch to hop onto. Another little one, and here she is, keeping her eye on me. I should give her a name because, well, maybe call her the boss, because that's pretty much what she is. She's the boss. That's their waterer, that's their feeder. This right here may be another roost. I don't know exactly how I'm going to figure out the rest of it, but they do need more places to roost. And then the nesting box that we saw when we came in, it will go on this wall right here, which is by the door, and I will just be able to come in, stand by the door, quickly gather the eggs without disturbing them, hopefully. So that is the preview to the chicken vlog that will be coming up in the future. Thank you for joining me today. If you like the information that I've shared with you, please hit the like button, share with your friends who also like gardening, make comments, and I always can use more help from your comments. And let's see, who can I refer you to today? There's so many gardeners out there with YouTube channels that have so much great information. Let's see, I don't know, I'll have to look at my notes and refer you to some of those in the next one. So thanks for hanging out with me today, watching me harvest the onions. And remember, if you want to do things a little faster, just put your camera on time lapse. It'll be great. Thanks, and